So guys, I have spent the last 3 years talking to you about social issues and culture and politics, and apparently the only thing that I actually needed to do to capture your attention was to talk about car troubles and to tell you insane stories from my life, because based on all the comments, that was the thing that you enjoyed most from that episode. And the good thing is that happens all the time. Our life is genuinely crazy. And so I thought today we could do part 2 of Storytime with Brett. So what I need to fill you in on today is my mom moving to Tennessee. And if you guys have followed me for a while, you know that this has been in the works for like 16 months. Basically, like my mom came to our wedding, and that weekend she went and door knocked all around us in the neighboring, areas, and was basically just like, will anybody sell me, your house? I want to live in this area and be close to my kid. And she ended up buying a house, and we were all so excited. So she went back to Idaho and got her farm ready to be put on the market, and all hell broke loose. Basically, the market exploded in a terrible way. She was not able to sell her farm back in the fall. It was like in escrow, and then it fell out of escrow because the people who were buying it decided that they wanted a divorce and they could not live together. Then it went into escrow again, and the people didn't actually have the money. So she was like, screw it. I'm taking it off the market for the holidays. I'll just try to get to you this summer. Well, lo and behold, at the end of December, I say, hey mom, I'm pregnant. She freaks out. And she's like, oh my God, I have to get here before this baby comes. So she lists the house in the spring. She finally gets it under contract. And then lo and behold, it falls out of escrow yet again. So I'm just giving you guys the context of this. This has literally been a 16-month journey of her trying to get here, trying to be the world's best mom, to support her daughter and be near her daughter and her son-in-law, all of these things, be near her grandchild. My brother also lives on this side of the country, so she'll be closer to him as well. Anyway, all of this has been going on for 6 months. She gets the house back in escrow. There was a problem with the lender, so the move is starting. And I think you guys know she had already shipped us some of her cows, because this is not just a normal move. Now, my mom never really does normal moves because she has moved cross country about 1 million times. She went from Oklahoma to Atlanta as a kid, and then up to New York, and then all the way over to Newport Beach, California. And then she and my dad were like, let's move to an island in the most northern part of America before you get to Alaska. Let's go to Washington. And then she's like, actually, let's go to Tennessee. Let's go back to California. Let's go to Idaho. Now we're coming back to Tennessee. Even though that is all insane, now it's even crazier because she's moving 50 plus farm animals in addition to 65 years of life. So that is why she had sent us some of her cows and the mules a month in advance, a bunch of birds. But now the real move was happening. So while Alex and I were in Texas finishing up the last leg of my tour, and we were stranded on I-35, all of that, my mom was going through her own hell in Idaho, where one of her barns just spontaneously set on fire, which she was like, oh my God, it's a sign from God. What is going on? Things were breaking and falling apart all around her, the farm hands that she had hired to help her pack and get moved and to take care of all the animals. People weren't showing up. They were having catastrophes in their own life. But guys, finally, the last 3 days of this 16-month move were about to happen. She packs up all the animals. My brother flies out and is going to drive her moving truck. She has a set of people that are driving the Great Pyrenees, her livestock guardian dogs. They hit the road. And literally, guys, the day that Alex and I get our second flat tire, within 10 minutes of me jokingly sending my mom a photo and being like, ha ha ha, here we go again, stranded in Texas on another flat tire, she goes, don't even talk. Don't even talk, because your brother is somewhere in Nebraska with a flat tire on a 26-foot U-Haul. And of course, you can't just fix a flat tire on a U-Haul that is weighed down by, thousands and thousands of pounds. It also has a 12-foot trailer being hauled behind it. So we had to wait for 6 hours for U-Haul to come and fix it. And then, guys, just hold on. Within 5 minutes of him telling her that, her good friends who were driving the trailer across the country with her Great Pyrenees and some of the animals and a bunch of her farm equipment told her that the trailer had come loose from the truck. Literally, the trailer hitch had come undone somewhere in Wyoming, and the trailer with her dogs in it were shaking all around. So all of that happened within 5 minutes of me being like, ha ha ha, another flat tire. So obviously our catastrophe that you heard was nowhere near what she was going through trying to handle this move back from Idaho. But again, everything gets handled. That is the Cooper way. You just figure it out. You get back on the roads. Everybody got back on the road, and my brother and the moving truck arrived at her house. The movers were there. We helped him stage everything and coordinate everything. He went on back to Florida. Her friends and the Great Pyrenees arrived. We got them all situated. However, there was an issue because the Great Pyrenees that I posted on Twitter and on my story, that's one of my mom's dogs, whose name is Ruger, In the accident that they had in Wyoming, he slammed so hard against the side of the trailer that he broke his jaw. He literally, guys, has half of his mouth hanging out. But these are guardian dogs. They are protective dogs. They are working dogs. This is, like, in my opinion, the toughest breed in the entire world. You would have not known that anything was wrong. He was so happy, so excited to see us, so excited to be here, drinking water, jumping around, and you were just like, oh, something is a little bit off here because half of his teeth are horizontal when they should be vertical. So obviously then I cram this 130-pound dog into the back of the Tesla. I'm hauling him over to a vet. Now he has to have surgery, but we're coordinating all of this because while all this is happening, my mom is driving her tiny little like hybrid crossover car with a trailer attached to it across the country, and she is not stopping. I don't think she got a hotel the entire time that she was driving. She was like, I am getting here. My things are here. My cows are here. My sheep are here. That's the other thing we're having to coordinate, like the dogs are arriving, the sheep are arriving. That is all happening last night. And so she texts me and she says, I think that I'll be in around 3 a.m. And I'm like, great. And I get a call from her livestock transport person who says, hey, I think that I'll be there around 11 o'clock. So my job now and Alex's job is to greet the livestock transport person. We're managing the dogs, the things are in her house, everything's fine. All we have to do is just get her birds off the trailer, get her sheep in with the Great Pyrenees. We'll go to bed. She's going to let herself into our house and then just have a good night's sleep. But it doesn't work that way because there are storms all across the country. So the livestock transport lady gets stuck in St. Louis or somewhere in Illinois. I have no idea. And she does not get here until 4 a.m. And I literally feel like I just got a taste of what it's going to be like to have a newborn because every single hour of last night, we had an alarm set. And I was like, where are you? Are you here? Okay, you're an hour and a half away. Okay, you had to stop for 3 hours because of this storm. Right, you're on the road again. Now you're not on the road again. 4 a.m. She finally gets here. But of course, it's fine. It's fine. It's the last day. Everything's okay. However, the cage that the turkeys were coming in, because my mom raises turkeys, was broken. So there were just turkeys loose all throughout this trailer, running around with the sheep. We collect all of them. We get them in with our birds. We're just like, we'll just keep them there. The geese also get out. So now we have her like beautiful Sebastopol. That's what they're called. These like boutique, beautiful geese. They're running around our driveway, but we collect them. It's fine. They then back the trailer up to the pasture where the sheep are supposed to go. Only two make it into the pasture. Everybody else somehow slips out. So Alex is now like chasing sheep, tackling sheep. We get everybody in except one sheep. And this one sheep we have had since I even lived in Idaho. And her name is Thelma. There used to be a Louise. Louise is no more, but Thelma remains. And Thelma did not want to go into the pasture. And so now, guys, it is 4:50 a.m. And Alex is out there sweating like a pig. He has been unloading things out of the back of this truck, chasing sheep, tackling them, and we have one left. And if you know livestock at all, you probably know that boy sheep are called rams because they will ram into you. But that's not just boys that do that. The ewes will do this as well. The lambs will do this. And so Thelma is simultaneously running away from us, running over the entire property. But whenever we corner her, she like darts her eyes at you and rams into you. So obviously Alex does not want me in the middle of this because he's like, oh my God, you are pregnant. This animal is going to ram into you. So it's just him. He's dancing around. The livestock lady's trying to help us. We finally get Thelma into the pasture and everything is silent. And my mom somehow arrives. Again, after literally not getting a hotel the entire drive, she pulls into our driveway soon after. It is like 5:15 in the morning. She has her two geriatric white crusty dogs that have been in diapers, which is so disgusting, but I just have to say, I mean, it's like so insane. For this entire drive, she has barn cats that she threw in the back of this tiny hybrid, one of which got sick the day before she left, of course, and now has some neurological thing that she's having to like nurse this poor baby barn cat back to health while driving across the country. But everybody made it. Everyone is alive. Mostly, Ruger the Great Pyrenees is literally in surgery as I am recording this to fix his jaw. After my mom got in at 5 a.m., I slept for like an hour, and then Alex was like having to shake me awake and was like, we have to go get Ruger in the car because I was not going to make her get up, early, an hour after getting in and driving 30 plus hours. So we were like pushing this 130-pound dog who did not want to go to the vet again into the car. We got him there. So say a prayer for Ruger, say a prayer for the barn cat, say a prayer for my mother's sanity as she now unpacks this house. But all good things. The livestock are doing great. The cows are great. The cows of Good Ranchers are even better. So by the time that this episode ends, another family farm in America will have shut down. And not because they stopped working hard, but because the meat in your grocery store is not coming from them anymore. It is coming from overseas, where safety standards are different and quality is questionable, and truth in labeling is optional, which is the most insane part. But you won't hear about that in the headlines. You won't see any labels that say raised overseas but packaged here with a Made in America stamp, and yet that is exactly what is happening. Over 85% of grass-fed beef sold in US grocery stores is imported, and most shoppers have no idea. And that is why Alex and I buy all of our meat from Good Ranchers. And Good Ranchers doesn't just sell meat. They guide you back to the source, to American ranchers, to real quality, to food that you could actually trust. And whether you are grilling their beef, their chicken, their pork, or their wild-caught seafood, you will taste the difference. And with summer in full swing, guys, there is nothing better than burgers by the pool or steaks on the grill or nuggets for your kids as an easy meal, seed oil free, of course, and you can get all of that from Good Ranchers. And if you subscribe to any Good Ranchers box today, you will get your pick of free meat for life. That is free Wagyu burgers, hot dogs perfect for summer, bacon or chicken wings, again, an amazing summer food, in every box for the lifetime of your subscription. And if you use my exclusive code BRETT at checkout, you will get an extra $40 off. So that is free meat for a year, an amazing subscription, and a discount. So visit goodranchers.com to shop, subscribe, and stand with American ranchers today. And remember to use code BRETT to get that free meat for life. And remember to use code BRETT to get free meat for life and that extra $40 off. So guys, now that we have talked about the Good Ranchers farms and my family farms, now we can get into the insane stories of the day, which starts with this ridiculous headline that I cannot believe was posted, written, published in 2025. Like seriously, I'm gonna read this to you and tell me this does not sound like it is something that was straight out of 2020, 2021 levels of delusion. Okay, this headline reads, "For some transmasculine people, abortion is gender-affirming care." In a post-Roe v. Wade world, photojournalist Ale, I don't even want to try to pronounce his last name, so sorry, wants to show that reproductive justice is gender-affirming care through Repro-Masculinity Zine. So this is some kind of photojournalist project that this person is embarking on. And just read this little blurb from the article. "In the years that have followed that 2022 decision, it has become abundantly clear that abortion access and trans healthcare are intrinsically linked struggles interconnected within the fight for our bodily autonomy. But the project asserts that trans healthcare isn't just linked to the fight for reproductive justice, rather reproductive healthcare, like abortion in many cases, is life-saving, gender-affirming care." I mean, how many times can you say this? I mean, guys, it does not matter how many times they regurgitate this idea that you have to kill a baby in order to save somebody. It doesn't matter how many times they say you need to do irreversible damage to your body because it's life-saving care. That does not make those statements true. And as you guys know by now, the science backs that up. And for years, what is so hysterical about this is that the left has preached to us that we must trust the experts and follow the science, whether it is vaccines or COVID or global warming or global cooling, whatever it is, just trust the science. But there is this one issue that they completely turn a blind eye to and they refuse to trust the science, and that is on gender-affirming care, especially for minors. And in this case, they completely negate the science, and instead they just offer these incredibly inflammatory, emotional arguments saying, if you do not allow children to transition, they will kill themselves. They will die. That is literally what they have been saying for years at this point. I mean, here's a Vice article from 2017. "Do you want a happy little girl or a dead little boy? My choice as a mother." That is what doctors and advocates and activists have been telling parents for years, almost a decade. This is another one from 2016. "I would rather have a living son than a dead daughter." This is exactly what they told Elon Musk. This is why they convinced him, they were able to convince him to sign the paperwork allowing his son to transition. I mean, it is every LGBTQ plus IA advocate's biggest talking point. Here's another example, a tweet from 2020, a note for parents. "If your child tells you that they are transgender, you have two choices. Number one, you have a trans child. Number two, have a dead child." It is really that simple for so many of us. The ability to live authentically is a matter of life and death. But the thing is, it's not. And that was never backed up by science. And yet parents were bombarded with this from every single angle. No wonder so many agreed to put their children on hormone blockers, to send them in for surgery, because they were trusting the doctors that told them this. But the thing is, all of those talking points are so far from the truth. And just now, finally, after so many years, the truth is coming out. And you guys saw this in the recent studies that we talked about in my episode with Chloe Cole about detransitioners, but now even the media is having to take note. Look at this recent article from Helen Lewis in The Atlantic, "The Liberal Misinformation Bubble Around Youth Gender Medicine." The subtitle reads, "How the Left Ended Up Disbelieving the Science." I mean, the headlines write themselves. It is so perfect. Again, you've been screeching at us for over a decade about following the science, about not doing our own research because that makes us crazy and conspiracy theorists. And finally, you are realizing what we have been saying all along, which honestly, I really didn't need scientific backing to understand. I don't think any of us with common sense and a psychological understanding of what it means to be a young person and to be insecure and confused and pressured by societal and cultural trends, I don't think any of us needed the science to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't do irreversible damage and castrate young people because of something they say one day when they're 12 years old. One day they want to be a marine biologist, one day they want to be a little boy. Let them grow. Let them work through it. Let them be awkward and uncomfortable because that is part of puberty. I did not need science to tell me that. But you know what? A lot of people did. And the good thing is they are finally waking up. So now I'm going to bullet point for you what Helen said in this article. And basically, she said that this widespread claim that puberty blockers and hormones save trans youth from suicide is unsupported, which again, we have known now thanks to the studies that are being done around the world. ACLU lawyers Chase Tarangino admitted from the ACLU that there is no evidence that these treatments reduce completed suicides. However, even though these facts are out there and the studies are being done, some leading figures and organizations are discouraging scrutiny and saying, do not believe these studies. For example, this is one thing that Helen said in the article. Marcy Bowers of WPATH likened questioning gender medicine to Holocaust denial. That is how far she went. Court proceedings in various cases revealed that WPATH internally doubted its guidelines and concealed research gaps. Just listen to that. They were concealing research gaps and continuously telling parents this lie, that if they did not push their children into this, that they would commit suicide. This is sinister. This is beyond medical malpractice. Every parent in America should be screaming inside because this was done to you, because these lies were shoved in your face 24/7 by the people that you were told, you were basically bullied into believing. And now they're being forced to admit that it was all a farce. And even though all of this is coming out and this seems like a massive step forward, that even journalists are admitting this, like I said, we still have a long ways to go. Because despite the US having guidelines that mandate, mandatory months of evaluation for minors, many US clinics prescribe blockers within a single visit. There are also places where you can go online and get prescribed medicine. I mean, it is just truly insane, so we still have work to be done. And right now, as I'm talking, I'm just kind of giving you a broad overview and talking more about the cultural shifts. But if you want to hear about these exact studies and everything that has been changing over the last couple of months, if you want to hear from Chloe Cole, I will link the episode that I did with her down below. There is so much information there, but basically the point that I am trying to make here is that this is a huge win. So this is a step forward, even though we have a long ways to go. And I just want to remind you, in case you ever doubt yourself or feel insecure, that protecting children is always a good thing. That is something that should unify us. I mean, saying that, having these common sense ideas about protecting minors and protecting their developing brains should not make us hateful and bigoted. Meanwhile, the people who are calling us hateful and bigoted are simultaneously targeting Usha Vance because she is not fitting into their cookie cutter mold of what an immigrant should act like and what an immigrant should believe, which honestly is the most racist thing I have heard all day. So guys, this has been happening for a couple of weeks now. I have been saving these articles and these posts. There seems to be a very weird targeted PR campaign going after Usha Vance. And this is wild to me because I have never seen this much interest in a second lady. Like Karen Pence, I am sure that she is a lovely lady. I have never seen an article about her. I have never seen her stopped by the paparazzi. I have not seen people nitpick her every move and what she's wearing and what she's saying in interviews. Even when Jill Biden was second lady while Obama was in office, they did not care. The media did not care, and yet they are honing in on Usha Vance, and all of these articles about her are coming out around the same time, which makes me think that they know J.D. Vance is going to run in 2028, and they know that he is probably a huge threat to their agenda, so they are just jumping the gun, getting ahead of all of the stories to stake their claim in hating Usha Vance. But the way that they are doing this is so disingenuous, and it is so disgusting, because per usual, they are not debating her ideas, they are not taking stances against her ideology or the ways that she's changed her mind or J.D. Vance's agenda. They are simply attacking her as a woman, as an immigrant, as a former person who was on the left, and as as a wife and mother, which seems to be the most vicious thing that you can do. Now, the two articles that I saw that came out around the same time, one was from the New York Times and the other was from New York Magazine. And the New York Magazine just really set me off on this, and I was like, I have to talk about this on the show, because they intentionally picked a photo of her where she looked a little tired. And then they made their entire article about how she's the scorned woman, she's been pushed to the side by JD Vance, and she has lost all agency and all individualism in this role as just being Mrs. JD Vance, Mrs. Second Lady. But I mean, look at this photo, like, everyone has photos like this. Like, you would probably catch me backstage at one of my shows, like, because I don't have a chocolate chip cookie, or I'm just like tired because I've done like 2 shows in one night. Like, that is normal. And yet they cherry picked this image to push their agenda. But the headline reads, Usha Vance is just along for the ride. And the caption reads, it has been a brutal 157 days since the start of the Trump regime, and Second Lady Usha Vance remains as much of a mystery as ever. I mean, how does a former Democrat, accomplished lawyer, and daughter of immigrants really feel about supporting a man behind cruel mass deportations and the detention of U.S. citizens who once said he loved her despite the fact that she is not a white person? You've got to wonder. Now, the New York Times article was very similar, but they made it more about her past as a progressive lawyer, and they said, how could this woman, who had this incredible career as a Democrat attorney, who fought for all of these civil rights and social issues, how could she have changed her mind? How could this have happened? It must be evil JD Vance. She must be basically held captive by this regime, by this administration. And this is so ironic and so hypocritical because, of course, these are the feminists. This is the party of feminism, where women are supposed to have agency. We are supposed to be able to have whatever job we want, marry who we want, do what we want, get educated, change our minds. If you are a woman on the left, if you are an immigrant, if you are not a white woman, and you step out of line outside of their little agenda, you are suddenly villainized and you have no autonomy. It can't be you changing your mind or being educated. No, it must be the evil white men and the patriarchy who are doing this to you. And guys, both of these articles and the captions that were attached to them, both of them were awful in and of themselves, but the comments were what really shook me, because the women who were responding to these articles were so incredibly angry. Again, just feeding into this whole idea that this woman has no autonomy because she happens to disagree with them. Just read some of these. Imagine being a fascist and saying that you are just along for the ride. Well, imagine not actually knowing what a fascist really is. Maybe you should take a Peterson Academy course and get educated just like Usha. And Peterson Academy is, of course, Jordan Peterson's online university that is open for enrollment right now. And if you are somebody who loves lifelong learning, if you're a homeschooler who wants to up your curriculum, if you want to learn from the brightest professors in the world, then this platform is for you. Every month, Peterson Academy releases 4 new, in-depth, 8-hour university-level courses taught by world-renowned experts, and they are produced to keep you fully engaged. This is not your average school. They cover an amazing range of topics from math and algebra and calculus to philosophy and history and psychology and science and business, politics, complete with optional testing to further your understanding of every single subject. Plus, they are continually rolling out new educational features to make the experience even better for you as they grow. There is also a built-in social community where you can connect and learn alongside like-minded people from around the globe. So if you are ready to challenge your intellect, expand your horizons, and take control of your education, it is time to go to petersonacademy.com/Brett. It is $399 per year to access all of these courses, with 4 new courses coming every single month, plus that social community with a 7-day money-back guarantee. Guys, this is a great deal that is far cheaper than spending $60,000 on a university degree. Again, go to petersonacademy.com/Brett. And of course, taking care of your skin is just as important as taking care of your brain, and that is why I trust Nimi Skincare. Now, Nimi was one of my first ever sponsors when I started on YouTube, and it has been amazing to watch their company and their mission grow. And since then, they have launched into the clean beauty space with a line of high-powered products with ingredients you can trust, you can actually pronounce, and feel great about putting on your skin, and I absolutely love them. Guys, I started using Nimi again at the beginning of this year after getting pregnant because, like I've said multiple times now, my skin was freaking out. My hormones have been going crazy. I was struggling to keep my skin under control, and I decided that maybe I should up my game and that I needed something more than just micellar water. And so I started implementing Nimi, and they totally changed the game. They got my skin back on track literally within days. We were traveling the last couple of weeks. I forgot some of my products. I was breaking out literally by the day I got home. I felt so much better. And the best part is Nimi is more than just skincare. Their company represents amazing values, and their products are proudly made in the USA. And because of that, they are not forced to increase their prices when tariffs and costs rise, so you can always trust that you are getting great value from Nimi Skincare. So if you are ready ready to make the switch, head on over to nimiskincare.com and take their simple skin quiz on their website and get a skincare routine that is curated just for you and your skin type and concerns. Again, head on over to nimiskincare.com, that is Nimi skincare.com, and use code Cooper for 15% off your order. Your skin and your wallet will thank you, I promise you. I mean, I genuinely cannot understand how they don't see that it is so degrading to assert that a woman like Usha Vance can't think for herself, that she is under the control of JD Vance. And they did the same thing to Melania. I feel like Melania was able to withstand everything. Trump is kind of like untouchable at this point, so they've had to like move on to her. But they're very similar. Like Melania, similar to Usha, has stated multiple times that she has disagreed with Trump. She wrote an entire book where she mentioned that she's disagreed with him, but she simply does it behind closed doors. She is not out trashing her husband in public. Usha, similarly, lets JD Vance do what JD is going to do. She celebrates him. She is proud of him, but she is not out here like Michelle Obama trying to crap on her husband or make herself more important, because her job right now, to be honest, is supporting JD Vance, who has one of the most important jobs in the entire country. And I'm sure that she is proud of that and she's excited about that. Have you seen the way that she looks at JD Vance? Like, that woman is so in love. She is so proud. She loves those children. Like, she is enamored by him. And that is a good thing. It is okay for a woman to change her mind. It is okay for her to say, hey, in this season of life, just like Michelle Obama did, I'm going to step away from my work as an attorney and I'm going to focus on supporting my husband and doing the good that I can do while he is in office. You guys were fine with it when Michelle Obama stepped away and she focused on being a wife and mother and supporting Obama and making us all eat, whole wheat Rice Krispie treats as children. But now it's wrong when Usha does that? I mean, the double standard is insane. And again, they assert that she has no control. And it always goes back to Handmaid's Tale. The top comment on both of those articles from New York Times and New York Magazine was, "It's giving Serena Joy," which, if you don't know, is one of the lead characters from The Handmaid's Tale. Like, people, read another book. You're marching in the streets dressed up as handmaidens. You reference Serena Joy every time there is a woman that you disagree with. You bring it into the debates about abortion. Literally, find another book to read. Like, Handmaid's Tale is not even about what you think it is. Maybe try to read it deeper next time. Or again, just read something else, because not everything can tie back to that one novel, no matter how hard you try. And the more times you comment things like this, the less educated I actually think you are. And that, of course, is so ironic, because so many of these people, these types of journalists and commenters, they actually are highly educated. They are the academic elite who look down on all of us, just like Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic Socialist who we talked about just a couple of days ago, who won the Democratic primary in New York City. And guys, we are back. We have to talk about him yet again, because the hypocrisy with this guy just keeps getting worse. Maybe hypocrisy is the theme of the day. I don't know if that ties into my mom's moving story, but I'll find a way. I will thread the needle somehow. But it certainly works with our socialist friend in New York City. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring him up again was because this video just went viral. This is a video of this man eating with his hands, talking about the third world and how being from a third world country inspires him to have empathy for Palestine. Just take a watch.
So the third holy grail of taboos in American politics, you have socialism, you have Islam, and then you have Palestine. And you are really going for the trifecta.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Tell me, why is Palestine a part of your politics?
When you grow up as someone, especially in the third world, you have a very different understanding of the Palestinian struggle.
Okay. So you might watch this video and go, oh, okay, so this man is a Muslim. I know that he only became an American citizen in 2017. He's, eating with his hands. He's talking about being from the third world. Like, it seems like he maybe only came to America very recently. Like, he actually was raised in a third world country. But guys, that is not really what happened. Zohran Mamdani is actually an incredibly privileged individual who is the embodiment of the American dream. And this whole eating with his hands, talking about the third world, that is a farce. That is a cosplay that he is using to play with people's emotions. And also, he doesn't even eat that way normally, I don't think, because here's a photo of him sitting on the subway eating a burrito, a handheld food vessel with a knife and fork. Like, that, my friends, is the whitest thing that I have ever seen. You cannot convince me that this individual is from a third world country when he is eating a burrito with a knife and fork, and also that you are eating it on the subway, which is just a conversation in and of itself. I don't think anybody should ever try to eat food on the subway. But here's the thing, guys. This man, who is going around saying that he is from the third world, from a third world country, he moved here from Uganda, He moved here. He moved to New York City when he was 7 years old. And what nobody on the left seems to want to acknowledge is that while, yes, I think he was born in Uganda, after that, he lived for 3 years in Cape Town, South Africa, where he attended a private school that costs $55,000 per year. And then when he's 7 years old, he does end up moving to New York City so that his father can be a professor at Columbia University. He's still in elementary school, and he ends up going to a school called the Bank Street School for Children, which costs up to $66,000 a year. But in every article about this man, they don't talk about either of those things. He's from Uganda. He immigrated here from a third world country. He went to a science magnet school in the Bronx, wherever it was. Yes, he did do that in high school, but leading up to that, he went to multiple elite private schools, and yet he is playing this game pretending that he is working class, that he is not a objectively privileged individual. And we've talked about his education. We've talked about the fact that his father is a Columbia professor, I think still to this day. We haven't even touched his mother, who is a iconic, award-winning Bollywood film producer who is worth millions of dollars. His family lived in a $2 million New York City condo. And this man is making videos, eating rice with his hands, talking about what he learned living, growing up in a third world country. Dude, you grew up going to elite private schools in South Africa and New York City. That is your upbringing. And due to the fact that you are pushing socialism on every angle and saying it hasn't been done properly, that signals to me that you are an elite, that you are an educated, privileged individual, because most of the people that push very left-wing, almost socialist ideas, or objectively socialist ideas in this country come from very privileged background, and yet they all try to lie to us and pretend that they have some working class upbringing. The best other example of this is, of course, AOC, who consistently tells us all that she's just a working class girl from the Bronx. I mean, we all saw this tweet a couple of weeks ago. Also, I'm a Bronx girl. You should know that we eat Queens boys for breakfast. Okay, come on, AOC. The lie has been debunked. You grew up in Yorktown, where the median income is almost $130,000 more than the median income in the Bronx, which is nicer, apparently, than the area where Michael Knowles grew up. This was his tweet in response to her. The town in blue is the suburb I grew up in. The town in red, the richer, whiter suburb, is where AOC grew up. The area in black, way down at the bottom, is the Bronx. It is not even close. Now, yes, she has lived in the Bronx, but where she grew up was in Yorktown. She is not a Bronx girl through and through. She's not a working class girl. She is from Yorktown. Now, another person that has been all across my X feed who has painted a similar lie for all of her fans is none other than Representative Jasmine Crockett. And if I need to refresh your memory, this is who she is.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey.
So that is Jasmine Crockett, who has based her entire brand on being some down-home Democrat from the hood, who talks like she's from the hood and can connect with black voters. When actually, Miss Jasmine Crockett went to the highest-rated, most elite private school in the entire city of St. Louis, the second highest-rated in the entire state of Missouri, and that would be the Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day School. And I love what Dana said a couple of months ago when she just fully exposed her, but she tweeted and she said, except she's not ghetto. I grew up in St. Louis. She went to the most exclusive and expensive private school in the area, if not the state, MICDS. She was born into privilege, educated in privilege, and grew as an adult into privilege. Her attitude is cosplay. And a couple of months later, she said, isn't this how it always is? Left is cosplaying a lower income, working class upbringing, when in reality, they grew up in very affluent neighborhoods, like Jasmine Crockett pretending not to be an MICDS debutante. I mean, you literally can't make this stuff up, guys. And I'm not pointing any of this out to shame them or say, oh, you're privileged, whatever. Like, it's not wrong or bad that any of these individuals lived in those neighborhoods or had those parents or lived in expensive homes or went to great private schools, but it's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous and so disingenuous that they put on this farce for their constituents and cosplay as these humble, lower class Americans or even third world citizens in order to push their ideology, because at the end of the day, that is all they're doing. Like, I don't care if that's your background. I also don't care if that's your ideology. It's a free country. You can believe whatever you want, but at least be honest about it. Do not put on this charade in order to try to convince the American people to vote for you. Like, that is why Donald Trump won. That is why people connected so well with him and JD Vance, because they're honest. Whether you love Trump or hate him, you know where he stands. You know that he is an incredibly rich and successful man. You know that he lives in a hotel that is like covered in gold. You know that JD Vance came from nothing, and he will never lie about that. He'll never talk down to people. He'll never pretend to be something that he's not. Those are beautiful, incredibly admirable attributes that people respond to. Like, everyone is going to see through these charades that these Democrats are playing. Like, believing in socialism, believing that it just hasn't been tried properly, I'm sorry, but that is a very privileged point of view, and you will never convince me otherwise, and these are privileged individuals. I'm using like the leftist buzzword of all time, but these are privileged individuals who are trying to pretend that they're not. Now, I hope that all of you have a wonderful 4th of July. I hope you have an incredible time celebrating this amazing country that gave all of these individuals, whether you love them or hate them, the opportunity to be where they are. And that, my friends, is the American dream, and that is always worth celebrating. Okay, everyone, I am giving you an update on Ruger. I just picked him up from surgery. His jaw is not completely broken, so that was good news. Look how nasty he is. This is what a real working dog looks like. Hi, buddy. His jaw is not fully broken, but he now lacks front teeth, and everything else will heal on its own. But anyway, he's doing well, and he gets to live inside for the next couple of weeks, so I'm sure he's very happy about that.